world's most famous pharaoh, an icon of Egypt, Tutankhamun, King Tut.
It's a fabulous one.
Wow, you see why the pharaohs chose this place.
Ancient Egypt was a land shrouded in mystery. No other civilization has captivated the imaginations of both intellectuals and lay people. Its origins, religion, and magnificent architecture, towering temples, pyramids, and the enormous Sphinx are all shrouded in mystery. The Egyptian pyramids are the most famous of all ancient monuments and the only remaining wonder of the ancient world's 7 wonders. The seeds of civilization were initially sown along the Nile's banks, just as life emerged from the waters. The Great Nile, which flows north from the heart of Africa to the Mediterranean Sea, fueled the pharaonic kingdom's expansion. People, animals, and plants were drawn to the banks of the long, narrow floodplain. Nomadic hunters settled in the valley during the pre-dynastic times and began to grow crops to supplement their food source. The annual flooding of the river, viewed as a gift from the gods, deposited nutrient-rich silt across the land, creating excellent conditions for growing wheat, flax, and other crops. However, a recent discovery near the Nile River's banks has experts baffled. What did they discover, and were the ancient Egyptians keeping secrets from the rest of the world? Join us as we investigate some of the most recent finds in Egypt that have scientists concerned. Archaeologists uncover Ramses II's lost temple. Several ancient sites have been unearthed by scientists and archaeologists, some of which are still being discovered today. The Temple of Ramses II, for example, was once lost and forgotten. According to Egypt's Ministry of Antiquities, the discovery was made by experts on an Egyptian Czech mission near the village of Abusir, southwest of Cairo. The discovery, according to the head of the Czech team, Miroslav Bata, confirmed the continuous worship of the sun god Ra in Abusir, which began in the 5th dynasty around 4,500 years ago. When the temple was unearthed, the Ministry of Antiquities noted in a Facebook post that it is 105 feet by 167 feet. Mud brick foundations for a pylon or massive gateway have also been discovered. Archaeologists and scientists also unearthed the remnants of a vast forecourt leading to a hall of pillars, some of which were painted blue. A staircase or ramp leading to a sanctuary was uncovered near the end of the forecourt. According to archaeologists' findings, the sanctuary was divided into 3 parallel chambers. What remained of this once recognized temple was buried in sand and stone fragments that could have been part of a polychrome relief that once adorned the previous temple's exterior. The cults of the sun gods Amun and Ra, as well as the goddess Nekhbet, are associated with these relief fragments. Tomb of the Egyptian god Osiris next to the River Nile. Following excavations in key areas of Egypt, scientists and archaeologists ventured onto the Theban necropolis. The Theban necropolis is a massive collection of ancient tombs and temples that once stood alongside the ancient Egyptian city of Thebes, which is now known as contemporary Luxor. In 2015, archaeologists discovered an ancient tomb on the west bank of the Nile that was built in the style of the mythological tomb of Osiris among these combinations of ancient tombs and temples. It was discovered in Sheikh Ab al-Qurna, which has the most private burials in the Theban necropolis complex. It is located in Abydos, one of Egypt's oldest settlements, and is where all of Egypt's highest-ranking officials, priests, and influential people were buried throughout the New Kingdom period. The New Kingdom lasted from the 16th century BC to the 11th century BC and was ruled by Egypt's 18th, 19th, and 20th dynasties. Parts of the tomb were first unearthed in 1887 by Philippe Viré, but he never detailed or published his findings. With modern archaeologists hunting for new finds, a team of Spanish and Italian archaeologists, led by Maria Alvarez Souza of the MIN project, collaborated to explore the site's chambers and shafts. After gathering information from the carvings and compositions inside the tomb, they claimed that it was fashioned after the great tomb of Osiris, a god and important part of ancient Egyptian legend. Archaeologists believe the tomb dates from 760 to 656 BC, or 672 to 525 BC, the 25th and 26th dynasties, based on their discoveries and information obtained about it. These periods are postulated based on a comparison to similar tombs that include Osirian elements. In particular, a notable and popular example is the Osirian tomb of Osiris, which is built amid Seti I's own burial complex. According to Egyptian mythology, Osiris is the deity of the afterlife as well as the underworld. He is typically shown as having vivid emerald green skin and a pharaoh's beard. He is also shown wearing a hat adorned with 2 gorgeous ostrich plumes, as well as his legs wrapped up like a mummy. He also wields a crook and a flail, symbols of his dominion over the land, as did previous ancient pharaohs. Osiris is a well-known Egyptian god, and his life events were generally enacted as a stage play by ancient Egyptians every year. It is a dramatic play that accounts his death and rebirth. Pharaohs and other famous individuals in ancient Egypt were known to execute Osiris-related rites because they believed Osiris could help them resurrect from the dead. According to Egyptian mythology, Osiris drowned in the Nile, or in some versions of the story, he was chopped into 14 pieces by Seth, his brother. Seth is the Egyptian god of storms, disorder, violence, and outsiders, and he plotted with others to imprison his brother in a box and then throw him into the Nile. After Osiris died and his body was strewn around Egypt, Isis, the patroness of nature and magic, and Osiris's partner went out to find them. All parts of his body were discovered and restored over the course of 12 days, with the exception of his phallus, which was believed to have been eaten by a catfish. Isis then created a new phallus out of gold and used magic to bring Osiris back from the dead for long enough for him to impregnate Isis. Horus, the falcon-headed deity linked with kingship, grew from this conception. But back to the tomb. What made it very clear to be Osiris's tomb is very evident in it due to all the elements about the mythical Osiris. The tomb has a large staircase about 3.5 meters long with a 4-meter high ceiling and the bottom leading to the underworld. Another staircase leads directly to the Osiris statue, which is at a higher level and isolated on his island. Around the Osiris statue is an empty corridor surrounding it, which depicts a channel of water and the expected burial chamber below the statue, therefore identifying the dead with Osiris. Archaeologists also explored the funerary room, where they spotted demons holding knives, and they are depicted as guardians which protect the deceased body in the afterlife. Egyptian Queen. A separate team of archaeologists uncovered the tomb of a previously unknown Egyptian queen, who is now thought to be the wife of the pharaoh Neferefre, who ruled 4,500 years ago. According to reports, this tomb was unearthed near the finding of Osiris's tomb at Abu Sir. Several pyramids dedicated to the 5th dynasty pharaohs, notably Neferefre, were located here. The Egyptian antiquities minister, Mamdouh al-Damati, told the press that the queen's name has been identified as Khentakawas III, according to inscriptions on the walls of her tomb. Al-Damati stated that for the first time, we have discovered the name of this queen who had been unknown before the discovery of her tomb. This discovery will help us shed light on certain unknown aspects of the 5th dynasty, which along with the 4th dynasty witnessed the construction of the first pyramids, he added. King Tutankhamun may have been a young warrior. Locating the tomb of an Egyptian queen is exciting, but how about discovering that prior beliefs about the renowned young King Tutankhamun were simply wrong? Tutankhamun is one of the most well-known pharaohs in Egyptian history. Because Tutankhamun's tomb was left untouched until British archaeologist Howard Carter discovered it on November 26, 1922, discovering and exploring the contents of Tutankhamun's huge tomb is regarded as one of the most significant archaeological discoveries of the modern age. However, one of the items discovered in his tomb has sparked speculation that the young king may have been a young warrior before his death. Among the items discovered in Tutankhamun's tomb was leather armor. The results of the analysis of the armor in a documentary contradict the assumption that the young king was a feeble and sickly youth before his unexpected death at roughly 18 years of age. The leather armor was analyzed using sophisticated photography, which revealed evidence of wear and tear on a 3,000-year-old armor and illustrates that the young boy may have engaged in battles. Lucy Skinner, an expert on ancient Egyptian leather from the University of Northampton in the United Kingdom, took part in the documentary. She saw slight abrasion around the edges of the leather scales, indicating that the armor had undergone extensive use, and as the owner, this shows that Tutankhamun had worn it and possibly even seen war. This heavy usage of leather armor was unusual, given that the prior study had suggested that the young king suffered from health problems. Tutankhamun suffered from a genetic bone-wasting illness and a club foot, leaving him unable to walk correctly, according to a virtual autopsy conducted in 2014. However, experts' discovery may provide further light on the young pharaoh's history. The remains of the tunic-like garment are housed at Cairo's new Grand Egyptian Museum. Which of these discoveries piqued your interest? Please share your opinions in the section below.